Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. If you hear any kind of low rumbles in the background, that's the generator. We have been without power for, I would say, over 24 hours now, and the storm that we recently had hasn't helped. So please forgive the slow rumble in the background. In Psalm 139, verses 13 to 14, we read, "For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." When was the last time that you celebrated your own creation? When was the last time you looked at your body and thought, "My, this is beautiful. My, this is amazingly miraculous"? When was the last time you experienced some aspect of your life, or of life in general, in your body, when you had a sense of being vibrantly alive, whether it was running, walking, dancing, making love, rock climbing, birthing a baby, painting, and while doing these things thought, "This is the most wonderful thing, that I am able to do this"? When was the last time you celebrated some unusual dimension of your personality, or some expression of your soul, and thought, "There are many things that I do, but this that I'm doing now, this is who I am. I love being this person that God has made me to be"? It may seem like a simple thing, but for many it is not so. Some of us feel ashamed about some aspect of our bodies. We feel disconnected and uncomfortable with life in our bodies. And for others it might be some aspect of their personality, or some element deep within them which causes them shame. And they have not yet come to a place where they can celebrate that in the light of God's presence. Ruth Haley Barton writes the following. She says, "In my early 30s, I took a personality test as part of my job on the church staff team. The exercise was designed to help us to get to know ourselves and each other better in order to increase team effectiveness. But it had quite a different effect on me. This particular test used the letters DISC, DISC, to indicate 4 personality traits: dominance, inspiring, steady, and compliant, DISC. While none of the categories were particularly exciting to me, I was most embarrassed to have the test result indicate that I was a high D, meaning highly dominant. Believe me, this was not a compliment. No woman in my circles at that time would have wanted to have been identified this way. The only saving grace was that no one else on the team guessed that I was a high D. They thought I was a high I influencing and inspirational, which of course meant I had done a good job of hiding my real self. Needless to say, I was far from being able to celebrate then my created self. My father has endured similar struggles. Raised in a blue-collar town in southern Illinois, he felt isolated. The part of him that is a poet and a mystic, deeply responsive to beauty and art, was hardly understood by the people around him, let alone celebrated or cultivated. Later on, as an itinerant preacher in fundamentalist Christian circles with stripped-down church buildings and the minimal use of piano in worship, he still found no place for embracing these essential elements of his soul. And for many years, he tried hard to repress these aspects of himself that couldn't find expression in our particular cultural milieu. But it was a source of sadness and depression for him. Only recently has he embraced these parts of himself more freely, spending hours and hours in museums, art museums, attending concerts, visiting cathedrals, choosing church services that incorporate great music and fine art. He is letting these parts of himself live and breathe rather than trying to keep them hidden. His ability to receive his created self as the gift that it is has been a blessing, not only to him, but also to his children, each of whom embody different aspects of who he is. So, how many people do you know who are effective at being themselves and letting God simply use that? This psalm invites us to do just that, to become really effective at being ourselves and letting God use who He created us to be for His glory. Amen.